Parenting is not just teaching. And if you feel that it's teaching, then somewhere I think we are drastically wrong. If parents focus only on teaching and are not themselves learning, then such teaching will have no power or vitality. When Swami Vivekananda in Parliament of the World Religions began his speech by addressing the gathering by uttering brothers and sisters of America, everyone clapped. It is not the world but the person behind the world that conveys, and that's what parents need to understand. I myself been part of upbringing very close to Belur Math, from where, in fact, from my house, Belur Math can be seen, the Ganges can be seen. I have seen how important these parameters of parenting could be. We are born from nature and we need to understand and teach the children how to be very, very close to nature. If they cannot learn that, going forward, there will be a huge anomaly that they would create. One of the qualities for a male child is that he need to understand from the early days what should be his move forward in life. And if he understands what should be his move forward for life, then he can build a better psychology of him. And that's what I teach, whether it's a male child or a female child. Similarly, for a female baby, they also need to understand how they should channelize their energy towards getting into a balancing act of female, being a mother, being a working professional, so on and so forth. I'm talking of the energy field and not of the physical being. A woman with more of female energy could be more receptive. Thus, wise parenting involves a balancing of these two energies in the child. Make the child creative and at the same time make the child deeply accept certain facts of life. If creativity and deep acceptance are balanced, then you will have the powerful glory of Lord Shiva and the universe of Mata Durga in the child, and it will get synchronized and there will be a beautiful ecological balance. If you closely observe, you will see that you are constantly at a conflict with the external world because there is an internal war within us. We thereby disturb the external ecology because of our internal ecology is disturbed, and then the wrath falls on the child, which is not definitely right. When I see today's parents, I find that they are not really giving enough time to their children, and there is a big flaw that actually happens. You find some children are very creative, but when failure strikes in their lives, they can't accept them. Some creative people don't have the female energy called acceptance. Any failure will crush them. Parenting involves making such children humble enough to accept the fact of life, and having thus accepted the facts of life, to persuade them to proceed proactively in a creative mode. And especially teenagers, when they grow up, they will encounter failure, whether in schools, colleges, universities, jobs, etc. And it's very important for them to understand that failure is part of the journey, and parents need to play a pivotal role in that. If parents do not teach their child from early days, then it is not appropriate. A child is born disabled while yet another child is born very healthy. A person is blind, yet there is yet another who makes others blind. Life is not fair, but the power of life is fair. If one can accept life, say you are born in a middle class family, accept it. Having accepted, use whatever life gives you. I have seen when two siblings are there is one sibling who unnecessarily may curse their parents for no reasons. It is also about that sibling's psychology, about their previous karma, so on and so forth. But parenting again comes here as to how much of move that you can give to the child so that the child understands that mere sense of complaining doesn't happen. And at times I have seen that when you do much more to the child, that same child actually starts complaining. Another important dimension is that most of us are like a ship in the sea without a compass. Just imagine that when a child doesn't really knows in which direction they need to go, what can happen? The child will be aimless. Many youngsters do not have a goal in their lives, nor have their parents taught them the need for a compass in life. So parents should teach children to create a very powerful compass, a compass to learn to be an outer as well as an inner winner in life. Now this is very important. Outer winners gives one success, but inner winners gives one satisfaction. A child should inculcate the value that he should learn to be successful. He has to learn to be satisfied in the right and good way. Many people are successful but are not necessarily satisfied. Many others are satisfied but not successful. Striking a balance between success and satisfaction is important, but I repeat what I said, it has to be in the right and the good way, so that it does not causes harm to anyone. Successful parenting involves acquiring a skill which makes children like what they get, and at the same time move with a commitment to get what they like. This balance of the outer and the inner winner is another important vision that parents should teach their children. In today's environment, when I see the parents are not really focusing on a child's overall ecosystem, and that's where people come into us, and last 17 years we have been mentoring many parents to actually take their child and make them understand as to how they should grow up into a healthy child. We have been mentoring youngsters, we have been mentoring parents in this ecosystem and building better tomorrow. I always find people get into wrong habits because there are very few ways to be happy and many to be unhappy. If parents can teach children many ways to be happy and very few ways to be unhappy, automatically the child will be proactive. I have seen even among parents who have gone through my teachings, my mentorings, that there are sources of joy which hardly encompasses 3 to 4 ways, such as eating, such as going out, such as shopping, etc. Now that is not all. I think it is to be understood that if a child is doing tantrum by just throwing in a mobile phone or giving him a gadget is not everything. Firstly, one should parent oneself. We are a child and a parent. The child in us will behave in one way and the parent in us differently. Let us parent ourselves so that we are always a part of a solution rather than be a victim to a problem. And once you know the art of parenting yourself, then you can parent your children. I think this is very critical. If a parent doesn't knows how to handle a situation, then they do multiple mistakes and thereby the child learns mistakes. Often parents come and discuss with me when the individual mentorship happens that when they talk to the children, their children get very angry, they're very upset, etc., and what they should do. I always try to ask them, first figure out what is the style that you're adapting. Are you too authoritative? Are you too persuasive? Do you yell at them? Do you shout at them? Do you beat them? Parenting involves not merely being authoritative, not merely negotiating everything, not merely persuading but also empowering. Now, one have to understand, they need to understand their children. I know that at times it becomes terribly difficult for a parent who stays with a child whole day to listen to those tantrums. Now, there is where calmness of mind comes into place. There is where a parent's maturity comes into place. So, don't do too much of waterproofing to your children. Give them a little freedom to be wrong and at the same time, learn to empower them. If the parents give the value what their children need, then they will understand the intention of the parents much better and the parents will find that a bridge is built between them and their children. The greatest gift parents can give to a children is the gift of understanding. And if both of them understand each other well, then a beautiful ecosystem actually gets built. And the gift of understanding is learning to treat life in a very different way. When you have a problem in life, learn to treat the problem as a challenge and not as a curse. Every difficulty is an opportunity. So make them treat a problem as a challenge, as an opportunity to grow, not something as a curse. When God gives you a problem, it is to make you more intelligent and to make you more powerful. When you have this attitude, you will treat any problem as a challenge. The opportunity is hidden in you. The intelligence to solve a problem is hidden in you. But many parents, I find, that do not see this. Every parent should treat any problem as a challenge and finally make the children realize that the real happiness lies within them and not outside. In a state of deep sleep, when you have no contact with any objects, you are actually happy. And this is what children really need to understand. If they do not understand this, then they will definitely go into a wrong direction. When I talk to my son and try to figure out that what is it that he is looking at, I find at times him being clueless. So there is again when parents need to come into action. When you find that your children is glued to mobile phones, then what do you do? Then the first reason is just self-reflect. How much time are you also scrolling the phones? Maybe your child is seeing you scrolling the phones whole day and that have given a cascading impact to him. Skillfully educate him. Good parenting involves being with the children, participating in their happiness and also educating them in the process. Now, if you are too pushy about don't use the phone, don't use this, don't use that, it will not really work by that. It will work when you really work on a situation of amalgamation that will make your child understand that yes, whatever my father or mother is saying is actually making sense to me. And if that doesn't happen, then your son or daughter would definitely not get built up into a good child for tomorrow. If you are one of those parents who feel that you need little bit of help from us for whatever that we have done over the last 17-18 years, coaching students, coaching youngsters, interacting with parents, feel free to reach out to us and we'll be happy to work together and build a greater ecosystem where we can churn out better children for tomorrow.